the context is an urban soil symposium, and we are, so to say, at the one side of the polarity to the wide lens of our physical and mental landscape and the deep history of our mental and physical archaeology. And so I will go just to the pole in before cities began to exist. And we can be confronted with very simple questions on this encounter with the inner soil together with the outer. Do we trust in soil, or we don't like it because it transgresses borders in our ordered cities by one means or another? And yeah, these questions of a human-soil relation are at the heart of my engagements in the German Soil Science Society and the IUSS, together with this group of colleagues, because what we are does strongly affects what we do, of course, and what we think and feel. So it is about a kind of intercultural literacy and intercultural communication skills in an interdisciplinary and transdisciplinary way. You see here on the right side of the screen just the translation of the working group we founded with the International Union of Soil Sciences. That is the umbrella organization of the national soil science societies with about 60,000 members. And here translated, and you see the different letters, and you see here enigmatic science. Yeah, we normally don't understand in the community of international English. Yeah? And behind all this are worlds of imagination we want to explore in this book further. And maybe some of you will find its own native language or writing in that. And the main hypothesis, when by the initiative of Christian Feller, we founded this working group in 2000, was it 16 in Rio de Janeiro at the Intercongress meeting of the World Soil Congress. The main hypothesis is that just in the development of agriculture and any relation with soil, mental factors have been very important drivers and factors from the beginning on. That's the mental factors, but not only, maybe. And it's not only what we think that we are more than we are. And this in our consciousness and self-awareness, it's below there is a so-called unconscious. Yeah, whether we think it is personal, whether we think it is transpersonal, it is effective, and effective also in the development of human consciousness, self-awareness, and of course agriculture and other dealing with soil. And so visualizing, yeah, is sometimes easier to show pictures than to rush through a little text on screen. Yeah, is that we have here the square that is the outer soil, that is what we see when we open the window and look at the wonders of outer nature. And the other thing is when we look in our hearts and in our inner world of visual, mythic narratives, structures of imagination. And here a vision from Hildegard from Bingen, a medieval German mystic on soil and the four seasons and humans and the cosmic order around. That is it. Just you see here the square and the circle, and it is about unifying square and circle, that is unifying inner and outer soil, maybe in a meaningful way. So therefore the title, when looking at soil, consider what is in front of your eyes and what is behind the eyes. It's so simple, say it, yeah. And therefore, this was also my motivation when I was an environmental scientist at the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology in Switzerland. I'm German, I'm not Swiss, but I lived a long time in Switzerland. And then I thought, oh, we are looking always outside, but we don't look inside. inside. And so we destroy, and we don't know why we destroy. We only see that we destroy. And then we try to repair without seeing why we destroyed, and all these things. So this was my motivation to study psychology at the same time too. And now a sharp turn to the Potbelly Hill, that is in Anatolia in Turkey today. That is most probably the site where in the Western Eurasian continent the Neolithic turn started towards agriculture. And here it started not only with techniques, but coincided with changes in the mental framework of people. You see here circle or ovals, which have been erected, built, and destroyed, or covered, not destroyed, but covered with earth over thousands of years there, starting 12,000 years before our time. We see here the circle, and we see the two pillars always in the midst of it. This was the beginning of agriculture in Western Eurasia. And an interpretation you can give is one of maybe several interpretations, or of course several ones, is that we have a border between the inner and the outer. That means the cultivated space and the wilderness. Before it was one, it was not so distinguished in the hunter-gatherer societies. And the central symbol was duality, hinting at the emergence of dual thinking, of dualistic thinking, of thinking in opposites, in contradictions, in doubts. And so the beginning of agriculture, of distinguishing this and not that, and distinguishing inner and outer, was also a kind of the birth of the scientific thinking, because in science we need also these distinctions. Then jumping to another important step in the development of agriculture and dealing with soils is one just example, the goddess Demeter from Greece, holding in her hands snakes and wheat or similar fruits. So very abbreviated version of the only a core structure of her splendid myth is that she has a daughter who is depicted here on the right, Persephone, and she just had to make her way to death and resurrection every year. The resurrecting goddess of plant life and soil, and the mysteries behind that, behind life, were taught by the priests of Demeter, and she asked humans to build a temple for her, so to say a formation, educational center for mysteries. And it was the time of Ulysses, the mysteries of life. And at the same time, she taught agriculture to people, mythically represented by Triptolemus, a kind of god who traveled in a winged chariot to teach peoples of the world agriculture. So the knowledge, this is the core message, the knowledge was mystical orientation knowledge and a concrete agricultural knowledge coming from the netherworld to be followed to do a right agriculture. And just jumping some thousand years further, there was here on the right hand side, the image disappeared. The Christian cross as an idea of centeredness and orientation, and on the right hand side, it should show up an Indian image of uniting of heaven and earth, so of the things that come from above with this mental spiritual structure. Here now you see it depicted again, together unifying with the structures of the earth. And so the snake of life, they said, come into an order to be fertile. And the cross-plowing was then sometimes a problem with erosion and on hill slopes. And so we have here just the a hint to the fact that the inner soil and the outer soil are not always in tune. They can also conflict. And then you have to find a new solution. Here is it. Now it shows up, the snake of life in the ordered squares of soil plots. And we see here the intercultural pattern similar in Christianity and Indian background. And here we have the same from Western Africa, the Dogon myth. They had the idea that people became farmers because a kind of an extraterrestrial new thing landed on Earth, changing the whole humanity. And in the essence, there are 2 points here. The right measure. It is a mythical measure of 8 L's. Of course, it is also erosion control, as everybody who is soil scientists can see, and keeping water and so on. And on the other hand side, it was their idea to every night being reconnected with the spirit of life in the shape of a snake. We have again the symbol of the snake, we have cross-like structures and so on. It is an inner world, which is so strange to us maybe, but by reconnecting to what is meant maybe, we can also reconnect to depths of our own soul and to our human dimension when dealing with nature. It's now just a sharp curve again to a paradigm of plant nutrition. Here you see just the elements, yeah, one elements neatly distinguished from the other nourishing elements. Yeah, there's no life, there's no spirit in it, but they are the elements, yeah, of chemical plant nutrition.
Hello, excuse me. Sorry to interrupt there. I thought I had my alarm went off, and I didn't. I was wondering if you guys. I thought you guys heard it. It went off a couple of times. I'm sorry to interrupt. This is absolutely fantastic. I could watch this for 10 times longer, Nikola. This is
no. I will finish soon.
The imagery is magnificent, and I love everything you're talking about.
Thank you for reminding. So here, another, so to say, archetypal ground in farming is the power complex of humans, and with the little human therein, feel the power, be the commander. And you can ask, where's life in that? Is it a treasure? Is it a danger? The threatening dragon, snakes, and spiders in soil here to be, or is it you can make the photo. I see you, and okay, and here or is it a microcosm of life? And so to finish, it is about the complementarity of inner or unity of outer and inner soil, which is at stake, which is our research question. And well, this I cannot explain. That's a psychological concept behind of outer and inner world, and of culture being at the interface of outer and inner world. Just I will let that stand during maybe some questions. This is what we do. These are the sections and chapters finished or almost finished with this book on cultural understanding of soils of International Union of Soil Sciences. So thank you for listening.